Now, when we start training calisthenics, it's common that we're working towards press, handstand, and handstand push-up at the same time. So you'll be working towards the press and the handstand push-up. And most people, when they do that, they'll split their sessions into two. So they'll have a handstand push-up session or a bent arm session and a straight arm session for the press handstand. And that's probably the best way of training, as long as you have the time to train and the consistency. So you want to be hitting those 2 to 3 times a week each to be progressing on them. But a more time efficient way of training both of them is to combine press handstand and handstand push-up in the same session. Now we can do it in a few different ways. So we could go the superset way, where basically you have different options for your press handstand, different options for your handstand push-up. You do a press handstand movement followed by a handstand push-up movement. Or you can combine the movements in the same rep or the same set. Now this one's the most time efficient, and it's pretty cool if you have a good understanding of each of the exercises. But if you're newer to them, you're probably better off sticking with this one. But let's first go through this, and then I'm going to show you these ones. So we can just pick and mix the movements that fit to our current level. So let's go partial range press handstand with a crow up to handstand. Now obviously each of these can be done freestanding or against the wall. So there's the partial range. I'm not using the wall, but I could use it if I need to. And then I'm going to follow that with a crow up to handstand. So it's the straight arm movement for the press, is the partial range press, and then we've got the bent arm crow to handstand. Now I only done the concentric, I could do the eccentric as well. So the same movement, this time I'm going to show you on the wall. So I'm actually going to put my back against the wall to help me even more to go up and back down, kissing the stools. And then for the crow to handstand, I'm also going to use the wall, but just for the catch at the top to give me a little bit of help with balance before coming back down through that eccentric. Now I can swap as well which one I do first. So I could do the handstand push-up movement first. So let's now do a pike push-up followed by a freestanding eccentric press. So standard pike push-up, coming forwards, elbows in, head kisses the floor, come back to that start position, open the shoulders. Then I kick up to handstand and do a slow eccentric all the way down, as slow as possible. Don't miss anything, don't drop, tiptoes kiss the floor and come back out. So separate movements, but no rest between the superset. So instead of the superset option, if we're a little bit more conditioned with the movements, we can start to combine them into the same rep or the same set. Again, we have options to fit our levels. So we use the wall for our balance if we need to. We can go freestanding, we can slow the movements down if we have more strength. We can make the movements more efficient if we have more flexibility. So let's run through these. So we have crow to handstand followed by an eccentric press. So the wall option would be nice and close for that crow to handstand. Then we go against the wall and then we slowly come down until our tiptoes touch the floor and back out. The freestanding version would be the same, but not using the wall, showing control at the top, pass through the eccentric, kiss the floor. If we already have the movements, we can just work on that repetition and quality to refine everything. I could go through a press to a handstand push-up, back down through the eccentric press. Maybe my press is stronger than my handstand push-up, so I'm just going to do a eccentric for the handstand push-up with a full press, or for the full concentric on the way up for the press, and slowly down through that eccentric for the handstand push-up. Similar would be a press with a lower to crow. Now let's show the wall version for this. So externally rotate the hands, head into the wall, back against the wall, push up, and then I'm going to come off the wall and then coming down to my crow as slow as possible and catch. That one's a little bit trickier to get the distance right away from the wall, and I don't know if you're noticing with all these movements, because I'm combining both, there's a little bit more external rotation with the hands. The hands are a little bit wider to create the space and make it so the setup fits both the press and the handstand push-up. I could combine the handstand push-up and the eccentric press. So if I already have the handstand push-up, now maybe my balance isn't great, and I need to use the wall. So if I've got the handstand push-up, I'm going to jump up. I'm going to do that chest to wall, so against the wall there. And then I'm going to do my eccentric press handstand using the wall for that chest to wall, just to give me enough support and balance so I can get a good repetition with no dropping. Just be careful with that eccentric press chest to wall, because a lot of people drop on the last half. That's why I normally prefer the back to wall version. We could press with the partial range handstand push up. So press handstand and then
partial range, show control, all the way back down to tippy toes touch. The same but with a jump instead of the press. So passing through the same pathway and then coming back down. So loads of different options. Let's just put one more in. Let's go partial range press. This is a fun one. Partial range handstand push up. So partial range, partial range press, partial range handstand push up, and back again. So literally hundreds of different variations depending on if you're working wall, if you're working partial range, eccentrics, jumps, if you have good strength, if you have good flexibility, if you have good balance. But the main thing is becoming an expert at each of the drills independently, and then you can start to merge them together. And maybe you normally train them separate, so you have that press day, you have that handstand push-up day, but maybe you haven't had time to train this week, you want to combine them, and this is how you could do that. If you'd like to learn all the progressions, or if you're working towards the press handstand or the handstand push-up, check out my app, link is down in the description. Reach out if you'd like coaching, www.paultwyman.com.au, and I'll speak to you in the next one.